Vint is the first fully transparent wine investment platform, genuinely accessible to everyone. For less than $100, you can own SEC-qualified shares of the best wines in the world. The Vint Wine Investment Podcast offers up-to-date information on the world of wine and investing, as well as current perspectives on our collections and the wine markets in general. Enjoy the show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Vint Wine Investment Podcast. You have Billy, the head of wine here at Vint, and I just want to share a couple updates for this week in the world of wine when it comes to Vint. So we have a couple exciting announcements. First, you guys may have noticed already if you're listening to this, you're most likely, in the Vint community, but our Napa Valley 2018 collection is live. We're very excited about this collection. Features some of the best wines from Napa Valley, some of the hardest to acquire allocations. It's really exciting right now. As we sit, as we're recording, there's less than 50% of the shares remaining. Of the 2,800 that started, we have 1096 remaining right now. So it's really exciting. People have been kind of snapping up these shares really quickly. For anybody else still interested in grabbing some, there are still some left as of Thursday morning. So hopefully, there will be when you're listening to this. They're $50 a share. You're going to be getting access to, Screaming Eagle red and white. I think we mentioned in the last podcast, but the white Screaming Eagle is only made in 50 cases a year. So that's only 600 total bottles. So you're getting access to some really rare wines. We're just really excited to be able to offer this to everyone and have it receive such a warm reception so far. So while the collection is very exciting and, we put a lot of hard work and sweat into that, I have another announcement that we're really excited to share with you guys. We have our first direct-to-consumer wine box that you can actually drink available. It's called the Vint Napa Valley Winemakers box. We worked with our partners at Major Crush. We are also on their podcast. Go check them out. To basically connect directly with 3 winemakers to access wines from their library, from their cellars. These are wines that are not readily available to the public. Some of them are down to only like 20 cases remaining in existence, at the winery. So it was really exciting. So let's kind of dive in and explore what wines are in these boxes. So again, an outline of this is going to be a box of 6 total bottles, 3 different wines, 2 bottles of each. So you can have one, lay one down, keep it going. They're all Cabernet Sauvignon, and they're all from Napa. So what the aim of this box is if you invested in the Napa collection, sure, you're investing in some of the best Napa Cabernets in existence, maybe also some of the best, Chardonnays from Napa as well. But these wines are, prohibitively expensive. So what we wanted to offer are wines that are either from nearby vineyards, nearby regions, basically wines of extreme quality, but not quite at that price point to make them more accessible to everyone. So again, these are 6 bottles, 3 different Napa Cabs, all from different regions, which I'll kind of get into here. And they're $600 altogether. So these wines, typically, if you were to buy them retail, would add up to over $800. So this box really, is saving you money, and you're getting access to wines that really aren't even accessible via retail, but the retail pricing would have had them at $800. So let's dive into these wines that are included in this box. So the first one we'll talk about is a 2017 Judge Palmer Beckstoffer Tokelon Vineyard. Tokelon Vineyard may sound familiar to you guys. It is the best, considered quote unquote best vineyard in all of Napa. It's, really highly praised. It was planted in 1868 by a man, H.W. Crabb. And since then, the likes of the Mondavis have been planting there. The Beckstoffers have the largest holding right now and are kind of the biggest proponents, I guess you would say, of, really making the uniqueness of this terroir known. Some of the Tokelon fruit is in Opus 1. So basically that is one reason we really wanted to share this wine with you, is it's a really special vineyard, and it's basically like you're drinking, an element of Opus 1 or some of these super highly expensive Napa Cabs. something that's interesting is the word Tokalon. You may see it used by the Mondavis in different ways. They've trademarked the term so they can use it across different products, whereas Beckstoffer is actually a vineyard designate term. So when they say Tokalon, all of the fruit, or 95% of the fruit, has to come from that Tokalon vineyard. So it's really giving you an assurance that it's all coming from this place. And that's really exciting. We met with the winemaker, or one of the co-owners in Sonoma, Palmer Emmett, where the winery is based, and he was just raving about the fruit from 2018 and saying, or from 2017, sorry, that's the vintage, how special this year was, and he was really excited. So we're excited to share that with you guys. The next wine is the Watermark 2016 Mount Veeder wine. This was really interesting. I got to go meet this winemaker up at his home in Howell Mountain. It's a beautiful place, kind of perched atop of one of the highest points in all of Howell Mountain. We got out they have this large golden doodle that's actually black. It's kind of interesting. It was black poodle mixed with a golden retriever. It was just really exciting. We got to sit outside, drink wine, got to taste this exact wine, and it's really a special wine. But what's interesting is the winemaker, Phil, he works for Diamond Creek, and he's made multiple 100-point wines for Diamond Creek. So he's really a renowned winemaker who decided to make his own label and allow, people to kind of really see his true expression without any input from anybody else. So this wine's really exciting. He was mentioning that the vineyard where this wine came from was actually damaged in fires in recent years. And while the vines weren't completely destroyed, they haven't been able to make any wine from it since, just because the vines are still recovering. So the 2016 is a rare bottling, and they haven't made any more recently. So as it's, being drank, there's not going to be any more from the specific vineyard. So it's really exciting and limited access. And then last but not least, we have the 2011 handwritten Stag's Leap. The Stag's Leap district is an AVA named after the famous, vineyard and producer. And it's this beautiful hillside area, produces excellent fruit. Unfortunately, this vineyard was also in a fire recently, one of the many up there. And due to the kind of different aspects of the area and potentially the volcanic soils themselves, while the vineyards themselves didn't burn, the roots actually heated up enough to kill the vines. So not only, unlike, the Watermark where these vines damage, they're actually damaged beyond repair and will never make fruit again. So what's really exciting is, this 2011 handwritten is one of, a very few cases left of this vintage, and it's one of many, or it's less than 20 in existence from the actual producer. So it's kind of nice to be able to go meet all of these individuals, go see their cellars, and really, understand how special these library wines to them and why they've kept them for so many years, rather than just letting them all be sold right away via retail. So again, it's really exciting for us to be able to offer wines to be actually drank alongside our investment wines. As great as it is to, be able to buy shares in the best wines of the world, we want to be able to provide you guys with the, high quality wines that are kind of the fruits of our relationships. We have relationships with producers and merchants throughout the world, and we have access to these amazing wines at affordable prices, as well as, great values for the more expensive investable wines as well. So this is one of our first boxes, and we hope to be bringing you guys more that either correspond with individual collections or groups of collections that we're having at any period of time. This one, for the time being, would be a great Christmas gift. It won't be able to ship in time for Thanksgiving at this point, but it would be an amazing, Christmas gift for anyone, or for something for yourself to share with family and friends over the holidays. Speaking of the holidays, before we, wrap up this wine segment here, we're going to talk about some wines that are perfect for pairing for Thanksgiving. I'm going to give you guys a couple of kind of my go-tos for white wines and red wines. And this year in particular, I've kind of been going through different phases as wine drinkers do. So let's talk about a couple things. So for whites, what do you look for whites? A lot of Thanksgiving food tends to be, a little heavier. Some can be a little greasier if you have some dark meat turkey. Some can be a little dry if you have light meat turkey. Some people have spicier dishes depending on what part of the country or, where their food's inspired from. Some people are eating seafood. I have friends who, have eaten oysters with dinner. So, it really can run the gamut. So what I look for in a white wine is something with good acidity, and potentially some, it could be a touch sweet, sometimes, because that, kind of panders to a lot of people's palates. Some people, you have your whole family at dinner and maybe, your aunt Susie doesn't necessarily want the driest white you humanly have. So something with a touch of, a little bit of sweetness might be interesting for them. So the 3 wines I would recommend are a Riesling, a Vinho Verde, and an Albariño. So Riesling, my favorite, come from Germany. I would look, anywhere basically in, the Mosel, the Rheinhessen, Pfalz, you name it. German Rieslings are kind of the way to go for me, at least. I like a Spatlese kind of approach. It's a style that basically means later pick. They tend to be lower alcohol, like 9%, with nice acid balanced by this really rich apricot stone fruit, as well. And then moving on to the Vinho Verde is very similar from Portugal. These are light wines. Some of them have a little bit of sweetness, but they tend to only be like 9%, very fruit forward. But the interesting part of the Vinho Verde is they bottle them with a little bit of spritz typically. So there's a little bit of this effervescence to help pick up some of the weight from maybe your stuffing or something else that you might be pairing with. And then last but not least, Albariño is a varietal. It is grown a little bit all over the world now, but it's most famously from Galicia in northeastern or northwestern Spain. The expressions from there, from Rías Spices is the region, what it's called there. It's really crisp, lean, citrus forward. It's drier than the other two on average, but it has this great minerality and basically linearity. It's just a really nice wine that pairs well, and it's on the drier side, so it pairs well, with that seafood if you have it. It also can cut through and kind of pair well with any salad. The green beans it would also work well with because it has this little bit of like, not necessarily herbaceous, but like a citrus tone to it as well. Kind of floral, closer to like a Sauvignon Blanc, but something more interesting in my opinion. Moving on to reds, I tend to go red fruit forward. When I go to these reds, I would say lighter in general, but that's not necessarily the case. I'm looking for something that's maybe red fruit forward with some undertones of like this bramble or dark kind of spreckled in, but maybe not like, big and jammy wines. These tend to be like lower alcohol in terms of the American palate. Maybe they're closer to, 12 or 13%, and then still have a little bit of fresh acidity to kind of pick up and kind of cleanse the palate at the end of each taste. So the 3 wines I'd recommend here are a Beaujolais, a Grenache, Garnacha, depending on where you buy it from or what country it comes from, and then Austrian reds. So we'll kind of break down both of those. Beaujolais is a region just south of Burgundy. It's technically part of Burgundy. The main grape there is Gamay. They have multiple tiers of wine here, just like in a lot of French areas. You can get a really quality wine at the village level. There's a Beaujolais village. Even a general region just calling it Beaujolais. And then if you really want to, go up a notch, you can go to Beaujolais or Cru Beaujolais. There's 12 of these different crus. That just means basically it comes from a certain area in Beaujolais. What's great about Beaujolais, though, it's very high quality, but the wines are very affordable. So unlike Burgundy just to the north, even for the most expensive wines, you're only going to be, in the $50 to $60 range, maybe. So you can get a really quality bottle for, $10 to $20, and definitely $20 to $30. Grenache and Garnacha, this is the same grape, rather than a region. It's grown in the southern Rhone, southeastern part of France, and also throughout Spain. Great expressions of these, very bright, easily, very bright red fruits typically, very approachable. It's kind of just like a happy wine that's, just very positive and can pair with everything from your cranberry sauce to the turkey to basically everything in between. It's kind of just a crowd pleaser. And then Austrian reds, these are a personal fave. I've been on a kick of these for a little over a year now. The primary grapes in there are Zweigelt and Blaufränkisch. Yeah, they're very German sounding names, but they make some really delicious wines with really bright acidity. Starting with Zweigelt, it tends to be made in a little simpler, easy to approach style, kind of leans a little bit more red fruits, but can go into black as well. But it's just like a light, easy drinking, fresh, the wine term is kind of quaffable. It's just a really easy, low tannin, very approachable wine. Perfect pairing with everybody. It's kind of a crowd pleaser. And then Blaufränkisch can also go from, kind of this lighter, high acid it goes a little darker fruits, like easy drinking wine, kind of a simpler wine. And it can go all the way up to being a complex, really thoughtful wine that can age in a really deep way. It can kind of run the gamut depending on how the winemaker makes it. But what you're always going to find is bright acidity that helps, refresh your palate as you're drinking. And then just kind of a really, kind of low to medium tannin, something that doesn't build up and always kind of brings you back for another sip. And so these are my favorites. You can find them in most grocery stores or Total Wines. And we'll have a list of these in the description below. So you guys, I know that was a lot very quickly here. So we'll have, the list of the wines and little descriptions of the general, what you can expect from the flavor profiles for each.
It's been a big week here at Vint. I would say this has been the most press that we've ever gotten in 1 week. We officially announced our fundraise that we had talked about in last week's episode. We got picked up in the local Richmond newspaper, Richmond BizSense. Richmond Inno wrote an article as well as a host of other fintech and startup related businesses. So that was great to see. We've invested into PR as we think it'll help build this brand, add trust, and really allow us to leverage that going forward. Unrelated to the fundraise, we had another really interesting interview early this week with Decanter, a pretty well-known wine publication. So that was also posted. Billy and I talked with them, and you can find that article in the show notes. Another high from the week was Vincent. For those of you who aren't familiar with Vincent, they're an alternative asset aggregator. So if you wanted to see Vint deals beside real estate deals like a ground floor deal or other platforms in our space, they help aggregate and provide information on those. Our DRC collection was in the top 10 most viewed deals on the platform for last week. That was really cool to see. Another possibly really good channel for customer acquisition. And then on the internal company side, we had a really cool week with Billy being on the East Coast from LA. We had Brady, Josh, Billy, and even Ralph in the early part of the week working from our office. We did a team dinner at Brady's favorite place. That was great to get together, talk business, but also talk personal things with the team. All around, another really good week, and we'll have more next week.
For questions, comments, or feedback on the Vint Wine Investment Podcast, please email us at support@vint.co. To check out our current offerings and to sign up for the Vint platform, find us at www.vint.co. That's www.vint.co. Vint and VV Markets are offering securities pursuant to Regulation A. Our offering circular as amended can be found on the SEC website. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Investments such as those on the Vint platform are speculative and involve substantial risk to consider before investing. We may provide communication that may contain certain forward-looking statements that are subject to various risks and uncertainties. Information provided in any communications is not legal, business, or tax advice. All prospective investors should consult a legal, tax, or business advisor concerning the subject matter of any communications and any offering.